A Krenov-Style wooden plane is just an awesome tool that you can make yourself. It's got a fairly short blade in it. This is by Hawk. This particular one has a zero-cote body. I've got some that have maple bodies. Relatively small amount of wood, a blade, some tools to make it, and you're going to have an awesome little tool. The nice thing about a wooden plane is that it really fits nicely in your hand. It's a much more intimate experience than grabbing a metal plane with a handle and a knob. You're really hanging on to the plane when you're using it. And the wood on wood interface just feels different. It's just a cool thing to have. A nice thing about wooden planes is you're choosing, it's a custom thing. You're choosing the bed angle. So this particular one has I believe it's a 50-degree bed angle. I've got one here that's got a 55-degree angle, and one's got a 60-degree bed angle. So these can tackle some pretty nasty wood. Another nice thing is with a wood plane, you can make the mouth really small. It seems to work much better than setting the mouth this small with a metal plane. Those shavings, maybe because there's wood on the front side, they seem to go through there easier than they would with a metal plane. They're a little fussy in the beginning to set up and use. You need a hammer, ideally a brass hammer, to tap the blade in and out. But once you figure them out, they're just a great tool. I have 7 of them that I've made over the years. I've actually got rid of a few of them. So I have several what I would consider smoothers. They're anywhere from 8 to 9. This one's maybe 10 inches long. I've got a jack plane here. This one's, I think, about 14 inches long, 45-degree bed angle. I don't like this one quite as much just because it's much wider. Now, I have big hands, so I can hang on to it okay, but because of this big slope in the back, it's a little harder to hold in a natural position. I really want to be more on top of it, so I don't like this quite as much. Still works fine, but ergonomics aren't quite as good. This one is the length of maybe a 4-plane, although I tend to use it more as a short jointer. And the nice thing about this one is I've created this handle for it so I can get my hand a little further forward on the plane where it works a little better. And this thing is really sweet. I just really like how this works. And that handle really makes a difference. The last one I have here, a little bit shorter, this is a shooting plane or a miter plane. And it's pretty boxy because it lays on a shooting board. But what really sets it apart is this thing is really heavy. Because when I made it, I filled the center section with lead shot. So if I remember correctly, this weighs about three-ish pounds, maybe a little more than that. And it also has a relatively low bed angle or cutting angle for a beveled down plane, and it's set at 40 degrees. So I'm not aware of any other shooting plane that has a 40-degree cutting angle. That's pretty low. Even with a bevel up plane with, say, a 30-degree bevel angle and a 12-degree bed angle, you're going to get 42. So this is pretty low. And this thing works really nicely. I have here a plane that I made a while ago and I've since cut apart. So this shows some of the features and how the plane is made. So you can see the bed here, and there's a cutout here for the chip breaker screw. This hole is for the cross pin that the wedge fits under. Of course, the mouth is here. Now this one had an insert put in here because the mouth ended up too big on this one. And you can see that this part is one of the sides. So basically we take a chunk of wood, we cut it into 3 pieces, cut out these features and then glue it back together to create the plane. I'm going to use the instructions for the most part from David Finck's book, Making and Mastering Wood Planes. There's a lot of great information in here, and I'm going to do a couple things differently. He uses hand tools a little more heavily than I do in making a plane, but it's a great book and will provide you a lot of direction in making the plane and using it and using some other tools in the shop. I've got a nice chunk of maple here. I want to start with about 10 quarter material, and I'm going to use this to make a smoothing plane.